your gateway to crypto.
Hello and welcome. You're with us here on Business Today. I'm Abha Bakaya. Here are the day's top stories. Reserve Bank of India begins testing the digital rupee for use by the aadmi. 8 banks to be involved in the first phase, testing to ensure stability and the security of the system. World markets celebrate as the US Fed Reserve Chairman says pace of rate hikes could slow from this month itself, but warns that inflation still remains high and the Fed is not letting up on its fight against price rise. Yet another record close for the Nifty and Sensex, led higher by IT and metals. The bull run is now on for 8 straight days. Nifty ends above 18,800, 50 points higher, while the Sensex sported a 100-point rally at close. A great November for auto companies. Car sales jump on a low base effect, but two-wheeler sales lag as high prices hit rural demand. The pilot project to test the digital rupee for retail users announced in this year's budget by the finance minister. The central bank digital currency is a major leap towards transparency in money transactions. But what is digital currency and how different is it from digital payments? Let's take a look at this report. We're now joined by Tina Jain Kaushal, personal finance editor of the Business Today magazine. Tina, what are the rules of using the digital rupee?
Abha, there are a couple of rules of using the digital rupee. First of all, we have to understand that it is a currency in digital token form and it's on a blockchain. And this electronic currency is backed by RBI. It is just like your physical currency, but instead of wallet, you will carry it in your mobile. Also, we need to understand that it is a mode of payment. There are already many modes of digital payment. We have RTGS, we have NEFT, we have IMPS. On this, there is additional layer of payment, which is central bank digital currency, CBDC. So what is expected of CBDC is it will make the settlements and payments very fast compared to the existing, and it will be cost efficient also. So this is what sets apart CBDC from the physical currency.
Okay. Tina, how will it be different from other digital payment methods?
Other digital payment method, if I take the example of UPI, there the transactions are happening bank to bank. Your money is getting transferred from one bank account to another bank account. But in case of CBDC or digital rupee, we have two-tier model. Here the money is issued by the RBI. RBI is the issuer and banks are the distributor. Already 4 banks have been listed, Yes Bank, SBI, and ICICI Bank and IDFC First Bank. These are the distributors in the first phase. Later on, we will have 9 more banks in the 4 cities currently. The point is this will help in easy distribution of money, and your money will be deducted in one go from your bank account, and then subsequently transactions will happen bank to bank or wallet to wallet.
Tina, thanks so much for joining us with that. What really does this e-rupee do? Does it promise to fundamentally alter currency as we know it? Answers to this and questions like whether or not you'll earn interest on the e-rupee in this conversation that Business Today TV managing editor Siddharth Zarabi had with 2 fintech entrepreneurs.
Will my e-rupee get me any interest? मतलब कुछ पैसा तो मिलेगा ना if it's in the account. कि ऐसा तो नहीं कि सरकार ने अपने cost भी कम कर दी और मेरी जेब भी काट देगी.
So I think currently the way it's envisioned and the way they've talked about it is that the interest will not be given on the e-rupee aspect.
And why would that be? What is the logic behind it?
See, I mean, obviously there could be different rationale, but if I were to stab a guess at it, right, the way it is, like you said, right, earlier RBI was the banker to the banks or the banker to the government, right? If RBI today is also going to offer an interest rate, right, all of us would like to bank with RBI and not bank with an intermediary bank. I mean, everybody wants to bank with the big boss.
The Gulf, where our fellow Indians work in significant numbers, and that is the largest personal non-corporate remittance inflow route for India. What you are telling our viewers is that imagine a future where all the money where those fellow countrymen are using and paying sort of charges on the transfer of their money to their families, to their parents, to their wife, son, that will could be done by the e-rupee, and the transaction cost for such people would be negligible or nil.
India today is poised to, I think, receive about $100 billion in the current fiscal year from Indians residing overseas. That is one aspect, like, there's going to be a reduction in the cost of the fees and then a reduction in time. If you just reduce the time from 3 days to an instant, right, you have just increased every dollar, right, which would have come $3 billion every day coming in, right, 3 days later, you've increased the remittances by 10% in the current year. And let's not forget the domestic remittance market. It is huge. Indians domestically that are settled in Bombay, in Bangalore, sending money to, let's say, their hometowns back, in different parts of the country. I think all of these costs, right, are going to get significantly reduced, eliminated. The time at which these remittances happen will see significant changes. And I think the ultimate beneficiaries are going to be the end consumers.
Now, the US Fed Reserve last night had some good news for world markets. Addressing a gathering at the Brookings Institute, Jerome Powell, Fed chairman, clearly hinted at slowing the pace of interest rate hikes. According to him, the smaller hikes could start as early as this month, even though the fight against inflation, as he added, remains incomplete.
Monetary policy affects the economy and inflation with uncertain lags, and the full effects of our rapid tightening so far are yet to be felt. Thus, it makes sense to moderate the pace of our rate increases as we approach the level of restraint that will be sufficient to bring inflation down. The time for moderating the pace of rate increases may come as soon as the December meeting. Given our progress in tightening policy, the timing of that moderation is far less significant than the questions of how much further we will need to raise rates to control inflation and the length of time it will be necessary to hold policy at a restrictive level. It is likely that restoring price stability will require holding policy at a restrictive level for some time. History cautions strongly against prematurely loosening policy.
Bulls were in complete control of the Lal Street for an 8th straight day. The rally propelled by dovish comments from Fed Chair Jerome Powell hinting at slowing the pace of rate hikes. IT, metal and the cement pack added gains, while banks, auto and pharma dragged. The Nifty closed with gains of 54 points, while the Sensex ended 185 points higher. Among the top gainers today were Ultratech, Hindalco, Tata Steel, Grasim and TCS. Meanwhile, UPL, Cipla, ICICI Bank, Eicher and Bajaj Auto were some of those under pressure today. The Axis Bank Burgundy Private and Hurun India list of India's largest unlisted privately owned companies is now out. The list is topped by Serum India Institute, valued at nearly 2.20 lakh crore rupees. Next in the list is EdTech major Byju's, which despite controversies rose 35% in value to 1.82 lakh crore rupees. The third largest privately owned unlisted company is the National Stock Exchange of India. Swiggy is at number 4 and hotel aggregator Oyo slots in at number 5 with a value of 78,000 crore rupees. Dream 11 is valued at 66,200 crore at number 6. Parley Products, Razorpay, Ola and Intas Pharma complete the top 10. Easy Trip has acquired 75% stake in Nutana Aviation Capital. The travel aggregator will step into the business of chartered flights with this deal. My colleague Karishma spoke to Prashant Pitti, co-founder of Ease My Trip, about this acquisition and the latest travel trends this winter season.
You've made an acquisition announcement early this morning into the charter aviation space. So tell us a bit about this and also give us some insights into what is the acquisition pipeline looking like going forward?
No, absolutely. See, basically at Ease My Trip, we are already the second largest travel portal in India, where we are actually doing pretty decent business on air ticketing side. Now we want to double down on our air growth. And now we are adding a new vertical, which is basically charter airplane demand. It's a beautiful industry. According to our estimates, it's anywhere between $2 to $3 billion already within India. And by this acquisition of Nutana, which is about a year-old company, we will be able to serve our consumers and corporates to book charter on demand. This will be a disruptive service. Right now, most of the charter planes are booked offline, which is either over phone or over email. And at EaseMarket, we are looking forward to grow this business and add a new vertical to our organization.
If I talk a bit about the customer bookings and consumer preferences, how's the month of December looking like? Is there a lot of bookings happening? Because this is also, of course, considered a travel month, year-ender, weekend and Christmas vacation. What have been the top destinations that you've been able to spot?
No, you're absolutely right. Quarter 3 is usually a good quarter in the cyclical cycle of travel. There are a lot of demand, which is the demand especially is coming for basically international trips. See, in the last couple of quarters, even though international trips were allowed, there were a lot of teething issues related to visa, which we believe has gotten sorted just now. And hence, there is very strong demand of people who would wish to travel to, Thailand. Thailand recently opened up. Then Singapore, then Dubai. These are the short haul destinations. On the long haul, we are seeing very strong uptick coming for Australia. Somehow, Australia and New Zealand has opened up, and this is basically a very good season to visit these countries. So that's the international side. Domestic side, we are seeing the regular leisure routes as Goa, Udaipur, and to the hills.
Yes, absolutely. And with the New Year long weekend, it looks like these destinations are going to further take an uptick. But tell us about the pricing. I mean, we were earlier thinking that higher prices are because of the price caps, but that analogy confusion has now, of course, been subsided with the removal of price caps, but yet the airfares are quite high in comparison.
Correct. Well, see, part of it is by design. Airlines have taken a very considerable amount of it for 2.5 years. So I would say that part of it is by design, part of it is by the crude oil. The crude oil has not gone as much as it went up. So it's basically, I think airlines also deserve to basically make some money at the time when they can. And I believe that if they will continue to increase the price or hold the existing price, as long as the demand does not subside. And one thing which I truly believe the pandemic has taught us is to basically start living our lives. And a part of living your life is basically to be able to spend decent amount of money on travel. Post-pandemic, we have seen the bookings for our 4-star hotel, 5-star hotel to double up as a percentage. Bookings for business class seats have doubled up as a percentage compared to pre-pandemic number. So all this basically gives us a very decent clarity that people have finally started to spend a lot of time on themselves and splurge money on their travel plans. Given the overall global context, I believe that there are very strong, there's very strong sentiment to basically make 4-day work week globally. There are some companies which are trying to adopt that in many parts of the countries. Some companies in India are trying to adopt 4-day work week policy. If that were to happen, imagine the kind of upsurge you would see in travel.
Let's take a break. When we come back, an exclusive interaction with Maruti Suzuki on price hikes and waiting periods for cars.
A shocking revelation has rocked the chess world. An investigation has found that Hans Niemann, the American grandmaster, has cheated more than 100 times. A 72-page report conducted by chess.com found that he likely received illegal assistance in more than 100 online games, even in games where prize money was at stake. Suspicion rose when 19-year-old Niemann beat the world champion Carlsen while playing with the black pieces at the $500,000 Sinquefield Cup. He ended the world champion Magnus Carlsen's 53-game unbeaten streak in classical over-the-board games. Carlsen first suggested, then outrightly declared that this American was winning through illegitimate means. Niemann's explanation was that he had somehow guessed what opening the opposition would play. Carlsen abruptly withdrew from the tournament as a sign of protest, suspecting that Neyman indeed was cheating. Neyman first denied those allegations of cheating, but later confessed to violating the rules of fair play at least twice in random games on the chess.com portal. The investigation made no conclusions regarding Neyman's over-the-board games, but flagged contests from 6 of his in-person events. The investigation further revealed that Neyman privately confessed to the allegations. Chess.com used cheat detection tools that analyzed and compared moves to those recommended by chess engines, studied the player's past performance and strength profile. It monitors behavior such as players opening up other browsers while playing. This is how the investigation was carried out. Neyman said, and I quote, "I was confronted and I confessed. And this is the single biggest mistake of my life, and I'm completely ashamed. I'm telling the world because I don't want misrepresentation and I don't want rumors. I have never cheated in an over-the-board game, and other than when I was 12 years old, I have never cheated in a tournament with prize money." Following this, he has been subsequently banned for a period of time from chess.com, the world's most popular chess platform. FIDE, the sports world governing body, has said that it will convene its own 3-person panel to look into these allegations of cheating.
Welcome back. November has largely been a good month for auto companies, with personal vehicle sales growing in double digits over the last year. Maruti registered a 7% drop in exports, but domestic sales were up nearly 19%, while Hyundai sales jumped 30% at 48,000 units. Tata Motors, on the other hand, delivered a robust 55% growth in passenger vehicle sales. Mahindra & Mahindra, too, delivered a whopping 56% jump in domestic SUV sales. Nifty major Bajaj Auto, however, put on a muted show, a 23% decline on a year-on-year basis. However, TVS Motor sales were up 9%. As mentioned earlier, Maruti registered a 19% jump in its November sales over last year. However, the company was still hobbled by the shortage of components. My colleague Chetan Bhutani spoke to Shashank Srivastava, Executive Director Maruti, about the sector outlook and the company's plans.
Shashank-san, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Set of numbers reported by the company. Domestic passenger vehicle sales up 20%. Total wholesale numbers up 14%. So what is an indicator about?
So I think the domestic demand continues to be strong on the demand parameters, whether it is inquiries or booking, seems to be stabilized. The number for the industry for the month of November, 323,000 almost. When you compare with last year's 2.46, the growth of almost 32%. And it's the highest ever November wholesale, for the industry as far as passenger vehicle is concerned. The other interesting, on the wholesale front, this number indicates is the 6th straight month when the industry has crossed the 300,000 mark.
We're in the last month of the calendar year.
Yes.
Any interesting trend you'd like to talk about? You spoke about the sales, of course, but any interesting trend you'd like to speak on?
Yeah, so one, of course, is the change in the percentage of contribution of SUVs. It's now almost 43%. That's a further increase. While the smaller cars are around the similar numbers. Last year 36%, now 35.5%. Almost a similar level. We also saw the semiconductor situation not getting fully normal, whereas the expectation was that it would get fully normal. So we are still about 95% okay. So there has been some improvement, still not normal. Third, we have seen the consistent high pending bookings in the industry, which is something which we haven't seen earlier for such a prolonged period of time. And of course, we do see a continued shift of consumers towards personal mobility, away from public transport. And in this year, though, we did see a slight bounce back as far as shared mobility is concerned, something which was going down in the previous 2 years of the COVID.
The mini cars, the compact cars, the mid-size sedans, and in comparison to the Grand Vitara now, which is a full-fledged SUV, how are the sales looking like, and how is the comparison been? Is the mini car compact segment, compact mid-size sedan, still the hot seller for Maruti, or the SUV segment, like specifically the Grand Vitara, is also picking up?
Yeah, so I think in this year we have seen an uptick in both segments, and both in the hatch segment, where we have a market share of 70% plus, we have seen good growth this year. But if you look at it in the perspective of a longer period, let's say 3-year period, then the volumes in the small cars have dropped, largely because of the affordability factor going down because of increased prices and not so high increase in the income levels of this category. But as I've been mentioning earlier also, one of the central strategy that we are following as far as product is concerned is to get an extra market share in the SUV space, because that's now 43% of the market. And our target is to get to 50% of the market share. And in the non-SUV segment, our market share is 65% plus, in fact, increased this year. But in the SUV share, we have, therefore, a lot of catching up to do. And that's what we try to do with the new Brezza and also the Grand Vitara. So our market share in the SUV space has been going up in the last few months, ever since we introduced the Grand Vitara.
Right, sir. And lastly, with the interest rates and all being a little bit troublesome for the consumers, do you think EMIs are still getting expensive, and is that also affecting buying pattern for consumers?
Clearly, that is one of the red flags and headwinds that we are monitoring very closely. The stubborn inflation leading to the higher repo rates, which have now resulted in increased retail rates for auto loans and as well as inventory funding. Remember, in our industry, 80% of the retail happens through the financing route, and almost 100% of the inventory is through inventory funding. So increased rates will be a matter which we will closely be monitoring, because that's clearly one of the big movers of the overall demand pattern.
In the electric two-wheeler market, Ola continues to rule the roost with sales of over 20,000 units. Okinawa, with sales of 17,000 units, remains at number 2. I earlier spoke with GR Arun Kumar, CFO of Ola Electric Mobility, about the evolving market and new launches. Arun, given the recent numbers that have come in, November is now the 3rd month where we've seen Ola topping the monthly sales in EVs. You take us through first the latest trajectory, momentum, and what you're seeing with regards to demand for EVs at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, Abba. I think the larger story that's unplaying in front of us is much beyond Ola. The fact is, yes, we are number 1 player. But the biggest story out here is the gathering pace of the EV adoption. And I think that's the bigger underlying story. We believe, at least in two-wheelers, the inflection point is broadly a couple of months away. If you see the 12 months ago, the penetration was less than 1%, and now it's gone up to 4-5%. And amongst the top 15 cities in the country, the penetration is starting to hit cross double digits comfortably month on month. So I think it's a very, very good thing for the country, which eventually will become an EV hub for the world in terms of high quality, high tech products being manufactured for the world, and companies like Ola at the forefront of driving this electric revolution, and of course contributing to sustainability in a very, very big way. That's what is happening as we see today.
All right. You know, the earlier hiccups that we had pre-launch or just around launch time, or concerns that people had around EVs, are they well past, us now? Are they a thing of the past, or are there any niggling worries, so to say?
See, I think as far as the customers are concerned, they're a very evolved set of customers in India. As all of us know, you and I are customers as well. What do customers want? One, they want a very, very good quality product with all the latest features and the comforts that the product can give them. That's one. Second, they want it safe, right? And we've done a lot of work in that area. In fact, we had the opportunity to work very closely with the government to co-create all the new battery homologation standards. And I'm glad to share that we were the first ones at Ola to get certified for the rules that were due on 1st December, and we will again continue to be the first to get certified for the next set of changes that are due by end of March. So we co-created these rules with the government, and I'm glad that the industry has rallied behind the government for the benefit of the customer. The third thing that the customer wants is absolute contemporariness in the product and the way it is delivered to them, which is where, again, the direct-to-customer model that we sell comes into play. Now, the next thing that I think all of us need to deliver is high-quality customers at the high-quality products at the right price points. And that's exactly where Ola comes into play with our third variant, which we have announced, which is S1 Air, which is priced at about 80,000 rupees ex showroom, which we believe will be the inflection point when we deliver it around March, given that it comes in the middle of what we call the core category for two-wheeler scooters. Nearly about 70% of the scooters sold is in that category of 70,000 to 90,000 rupees price range, and our product comes right in the middle of that. So excellent products is what the customers want, a great value equation, best of technology and safe. Things are starting to come together from a customer point of view for EV.
All right, that's where we leave it on the show tonight. Thanks so much for watching.
World Cup soccer fever is here, and then can Kolkata be far away from it? Now a quaint little store in Kolkata is bringing out kites that reflect the mood and the favorites of players and fans alike. Brazil and Argentina are dominating the kites that are now making their way through Kolkata's skies in World Cup season. Take a look.
Football fever is peaking. In Kolkata, it has reached the skies. This shop in the city is making kites on the theme of FIFA World Cup.
4 বছর অন্তর ফুটবল ওয়ার্ল্ড কাপ বা ক্রিকেট ওয়ার্ল্ড কাপ যখনই হয় আমরা ঘুড়ির উপরে করে থাকি। এগুলো পার্টিসিপেটিং বিভিন্ন কান্ট্রিজ যারা আছে তাদের ফ্ল্যাগস করি, আর যে ওয়ার্ল্ড কাপের লোগো, ম্যাসকট, যে লোগো বা কাপ বা ম্যাসকট যেগুলো আছে এগুলো মোটামুটি 2 দিন সময় লাগে পার ঘুড়ি।
The best-selling kites are those based on the old favorites of Kolkata, Brazil and Argentina.
এগুলো ভালোই চাহিদা আছে, বিশেষ করে যেগুলো নামকরা দেশ যেমন ব্রাজিল, আর্জেন্টিনা, পর্তুগাল, জার্মানি, এগুলোর ভালোই চাহিদা রয়েছে। সবথেকে বেশি কোনগুলো বিক্রি? ব্রাজিল, আর্জেন্টিনা।
The kites take at least 2 days to make by hand. All the kites are not painted. Paper cuttings are also used in some products. Adhir, who runs India Kite, says events like World Cup boost their sales.
তবে নতুন প্রজন্মে যেহেতু একটু স্মার্টফোনের প্রতি তারা আগ্রহ, তাই আমরা এই ঘুড়িটার মাধ্যমে এই দেশের ফ্ল্যাগস, লোগো এগুলো তুলে ধরি যাতে নিউ প্রজন্মের প্রতি আরেকটু ইন্টারেস্ট গ্রো করা যায়।
The kite makers claim they are fans of Lionel Messi. They promise a special kite for the World Cup final if Argentina makes the cut. With Suryagni Roy, Bureau Report, India Today.